We have 3, 4, 5, 8 people coming to the Soulspeaks Fest from Europe
Really?
already. Yeah, after 2 weeks of tickets being up.
Wow.
Dr.
Amazing,
Joe's
amazing.
coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's two others from England, 3 others from England that I know of.
Wow.
Two from Norway coming.
Any Irish heads making it over?
I think so. I think a guy named Scott. I think he's Irish or Scottish. I'm not sure. He's part of the higher vibrations crowd. They're going to have a
Okay.
tent there. I don't know if you've seen her. She's really good.
Amazing.
Pamela. Yeah, she's really
I have seen nothing, brother. I see
good.
nothing.
I see nothing.
Honestly, this could be a very boring interview. Honestly, the silence. I've just been in such silence. It's
Wow.
like, yeah. But
Dude,
let's see.
I'm looking at 11 people on one of the Facebook platforms with one message and 11 notifications. It's in 111s. It's August the 11th. It's about to be 111 over here. This doesn't surprise me given who's here with us today. Let's just give it a couple of minutes. Yeah, let me check YouTube. Yeah, okay, right on. All right. Welcome, everybody. Yeah, we decided to do this one as the Spotlight Show of the Week number 2. The Spotlight Show of the Week number 1 is after this one in about 2.5 hours with Pamela from Higher Vibrations. We're going to have a deep dive, maybe the deepest dive Soulspeaks has ever done in 6,000 productions. But I'm sure this one with Brother Martin Mcnicholl is going to be, as it always is, him and I seem to have some kind of symmetry or symbiosis or something that happens every time we get together. So I just felt like it was appropriate and the right thing to do to go ahead and do this one as a Soulspeaks Spotlight Show of the Week. All right. So, man, we got Martin Mcnicholl in the house, SOULSPEAKS 5D. This is episode number 97 on the new network. If you haven't been to soulspeaksnetwork.com, you need to go. The subscriptions are moving up every day. It is a self-funding 5D commerce mechanism. 1/3 of everything will return. 1/3 of every dollar that comes in will return to the content creators based on the percentage of their engagement for each month. That will start at 3,333 subscribers. I believe we'll be at 10,000 by next spring. That's a budget of $1.44 million a year. About 500,000 will go to the content creators. If you have 3% of the engagement for the month, you get a check for $1,200 to $1,500. Everything will be transparent. It'll be every dollar will be traced. And, we're just building as we go. We had 3 premieres yesterday, I believe. And we've got about 15 new shows coming on board. So you won't have to look at my face all the time, just half the time. And we're looking for as many as possible. We will have a handheld app access this month, notifications on your phone, and some other things. That's it. But without further ado, welcome Martin Mcnicholl, brother of light, world traveler, big balls. Pushes the envelope, dancer, singer, practitioner, husband, father, and yeah, man, good to see you. Welcome back.
Good to see you, bro. Good to see you. It's really good to be here. So happy to hear about the evolution and revolution of Soulspeaks, and I just want to always honor that resiliency in you. I really admire that, and I've said it to you before. It's just amazing how you've kept going through all of this insanity, and it's just beautiful to see it come into fruition. So amazing, big happy congrats on that, and yeah, good to be here again.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. It's not been easy, but you know how that works, and
yeah.
You just keep going. Your hair falls out. Your hair goes gray.
But I disappeared for half a year at a time. You're still.
That's right.
Thing. You keep showing up. You keep showing up. So
I was going to say you disappear in public, if I remember correctly.
Well, that's happened a few times as well. Yeah. There's been a few apparitions and disappearances. Yeah.
Now, I mean, most of the people that are going to tune in know your story. But there'll be people that haven't. And I would encourage anybody to go on YouTube and Facebook. There's a handful, half a dozen or more show. Actually, there's probably more like a dozen shows that Martin and I have collaborated on, and they're all very worthwhile. So his life has kind of been an open book to a degree. He met a beautiful partner. They had a beautiful star child, and they threw caution to the matrix's wind and said, "Fuck it, we're going to go do whatever we want to." And I think you're just getting back from Brazil. You've lived, you guys have moved around quite a bit. And I'll lead in with this. When you sent me the message, I was happy to hear that you got back and you were open for this. The timing was perfect. And you were talking about, I think you've been in Brazil, and you were talking about you met somebody that reminded you of me. And when I read it, go ahead.
There's another aspect of you. I'm sure of it, to be honest. But
well,
keep going.
You know what the crazy thing is, and it just happened again. When I was reading it, I got like this thing in my stomach. It felt like a fist formed in my stomach and started pushing up. I'm like, what the hell, right? So yeah, I totally believe that. I don't doubt that.
I'm getting God bumps all over as you say that. So yeah, confirmation there.
Tell me what you've been up to, man. And how's your family? How's your beautiful family? How y'all doing? And tell us what's going on.
I mean, just emptiness. It's funny. It's funny we're here to talk, because it's just been emptiness, stillness. Everything has fallen away. But before I get into that, I want to fill some of the emptiness. I want to talk about that guy in Brazil, because I think I told you, I feel like I didn't meet him. I just saw him. So he was homeless. We were in Sao Paulo, and every day we were there for 4 weeks, and every day we would see this guy pulling his bag along. He wore the same trousers every day, no top, and he would go to this water fountain, and he would turn up every day. And we couldn't see what he was doing, because we would drive past every day, and every time I was just magnetically drawn to look at this guy. And I kept saying to Elise, I want to meet this guy, I want to speak to him. I just felt such a call. And we thought he was writing something or drawing something, but eventually we did get to we didn't even speak with him. This is the hilarious thing. He just looked at me, and I cannot describe what happened, but I feel like it's like the highest vibrational being I've ever been in presence with. And he looked like you.
Wow.
He just had this look came through his eyes that I can't explain, and he just this tiny kind of knowing smile, and that was it. And I was just like, I said to Elise, like, this is a master on the earth. And he didn't say anything. There wasn't, and actually what he was doing was reading the Bible. He was reading the Bible. So the physical body was reading the Bible, and I don't know. You hear about this, like Buddha in disguise or masters, under the surface. Like, he was one of them. And I don't know, it just reminded me so much of you. And yeah, it was just like a sign, like, yeah, it was incredible. Honestly, I can't describe it. I cannot describe it. So we were there. We hadn't been there since 2017. So my wife, Elise, hadn't seen her family since that time. So we were there. We had 4 weeks, and now we're back. We got back to Portugal, and then we're straight to Glastonbury. So we're in Glastonbury now. We've been here for a few days, and we're here with a beautiful group. But for me, like, all of the stuff that I did before and all the stuff that I was putting out there, it just seems to have dropped away. It's just gone into silence. It's gone into nothingness. I'm just feeling like everything dropping away, and quite literally everything is dropping away. We had no house to live in. We had to move into a motorhome. All the work I was doing completely disappeared, and we've just been living on a prayer somehow, some miracle. I don't know how, and that's perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
Wow. So you're living on a miracle.
It feels that way because this body's not doing anything that would seem to to make this happen. But yeah, there's just
Uh-oh. Okay.
Away of this. There's no words to describe it. It's just, and then of course I've got a 4-year-old and I've got a beautiful wife and we've got life on planet Earth, but it just seems to be happening. It seems to be happening. I don't know. It's really challenging to put words to. There's no words to put to this.
So let me just sort of fix my camera. So you guys are living the life then. I mean, like, you know, people like me, or you see individuals doing it, but you're actually doing it as a family.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, our boy you mentioned, yeah, Angelo. What I mentioned, I've told you many times, how he's kicked my ass from way before he ever came out of the womb. But he is my greatest teacher by far, like unbelievable.
Really?
And he continues to guide the most of this, and like his mom. I live with two angels basically, Elis Angela and Angelo. That's their names. Angelo gave us his name, and I met Elise Angela on winter solstice 2015. It was just instantaneous knowing. Around the same time as some other couples got together, and it was very close. For a lot of, we've met other couples around that time, winter solstice 2015. So yeah, it's just moment to moment.
Wow. And so is he how old is he now?
He's 4, he'll be 5 in October. But that is so ridiculous even saying that. It's like, and even his body is, he physically, you always think he looks older than 4 years old, and he certainly speaks and acts older than 4 years old. So we stayed in the Airbnb in Brazil. I have to tell you this because at least she just cried her eyes out as we were leaving. The Airbnb like landlord, whatever, he said to the guy, he said this all in Portuguese, so I had to get it translated. Well, at least started crying, so it was translation enough. He said to him, he's 4 years old. He says, I will never forget you. And because they built some houses together, they did some stuff together. He says, I will never forget you. And if I ever want to remember the things we did together, I'll just close my eyes and I'll see it and I'll live it. And then he said to the guy, if you ever want to see me, just close your eyes and you can be with me. And like my wife, she just started crying.
Holy
and
shit,
the guy was just like, what is going on? It was all in Portuguese. I had to get it translated, but he just comes out with stuff like it's incredible.
Wow. Wow. I keep thinking of because you know what, I ran into this sister that's going to be on with me in a couple of hours with this other spotlight show of the week, Pamela from Higher Vibrations. She's been collaborating, with us over the, since about a year ago. I think the first time she popped in on an open mic a couple of times. So I met her daughter just on a couple of times, but like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. First time I met her, we were having a conference with another person, another sister, and can I say hi? And tells me how much she loves me, and then just starts telling me about how she travels through the universe. And last night she was at planet M4477, and I'm just sitting there going, okay. And then she took this ball of energy from her chest, from her heart, and threw it at me, and I felt it. And I told her mom, I said, you know what? That's the most powerful soul I've yet to meet. And she's
snap
9 years old. So these kids are here.
Yeah,
they're here.
Really,
and
really.
Yeah, I mean that's and we're probably not even really seeing the impact of all the COVID babies. Think about how many conceptions were had in 2020, 21 and 22 during the lockdowns,
Yeah. Wow.
People learned how to get intimate again.
Wow. Yeah, that was a journey indeed. Oh my God. But it's amazing. It's amazing to feel that and to be here. And at the same time, as I say, I just feel like this emptiness.
Yeah.
I just feel emptiness. I feel this, like everything that was built up. And another thing I would like to share maybe is there's been multiple deaths since we spoke, like continuous. I have this continuous death, birth. But I had this year, it was like 3 months long or something. Normally it's like a week or whatever. It was like 3 months long. This was I don't want to predict it, but it felt like this was the final one, because I come out of it like this is the final lifetime. And the only, I think I shared with you in the message, I was like, I've been on all these distractions. I've been led all of these beautiful, amazing, multidimensional stuff, all these things. I fell into these things, but it was just come back. This lifetime is for freedom. This lifetime is to wake up, really wake up, not an intellectual waking up. And I saw, well, actually, I met this amazing yogi, 80-year-old. I think you should have him on. I'd love to introduce you to him.
Well, let's do it, man.
They call him the Indiana Jones of yoga. So it's just perfect for you. He's an incredible guy, but he really showed me that I had an intellectual awakening. And that intellectual awakening allows you to tap into the wisdom of whatever and share it, and you can share it beautifully and intimately, and you can share it honestly. But what he shared with me, and we've all heard it, is the journey from the head to the heart. These Kundalini awakenings it's awakening of the Buddha, it's the awakening of the intellect, it's the awakening of awareness. If we are not living that awakening every second, every breath, it's an intellectual awakening. And I realized, he made me realize that's what I had. And he told me, yes, everyone trying to raise the Kundalini, that's the beginning. That's the beginning. Then the Kundalini come down into the heart. It comes through, described an actual, there's a pathway where it moves, and we say moving from the head to the heart, but I don't think people really, we're always trying to raise the vibration, we're trying to ascend, we're trying to get up there. And what he really showed, and I saw it within myself, and he spoke about many like very well known, I'll not say the names now because he knows them all, he's 80 something, he's been with all of these gurus, and he was able to say this one was intellectual awakening, this one was the real deal. I mean, he literally lived with some people that would be very well known and people would know, but I'm not going to, if he says the names, if he come on and talk to you, he can say it. But it really resonated with me. I see it because I talked to you many times. I could go from channeling ascended masters and being one with the whole universe and step outside the door and be a complete idiot and be controlling and be horrible to my wife and be a dad from, I don't know how I said dad from hell, but just not anywhere close to that. So what came from this death process, whatever it is, it has to be permanent now and not divert.
Right. Uh-oh.
I think we lost.
You're good. You're good. You popped in,
still
popped
there?
out. Yeah, you popped in, popped out. You're good. Yeah, you faded a little bit, but it's all good.
That's very relevant.
I know it is. I know it is. I totally get what you're saying because I mean, I see it everywhere and I see it in myself. And this thing that he's talking about, this Indiana Jones of yoga guy, this what he's talking about. God. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I know we've had, like you and I have had these points where we meet and it's almost like we're in each other's head or something. I don't know how to explain it, but you arrive at this place and I arrive at the same time that we have a show and it's like blast off. Like so many times people would comment to me, you guys share the same soul? What's going on? Well, what you're saying really, I felt the impact of this. And it's kind of like, it happened March the 1st. March the 1st, it was, you're getting off social media. It's an all or nothing proposition. There'll be a bridge, there'll be transition, there'll be spotlight shows of the week, and there'll be premieres, there'll be, you make this transition, but you don't bring anything with you. 6,000 videos, bro. 4,300 episodes of Soul Speaks 5D, and another 1,700 or 15 or 16, whatever it is. Told, leave it all there. You can't bring it with you. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me, man? How are we going to do this? And you got to have a skin in the game. So I went and bought the first sub, $12.12 a month. And
amazing. I love that.
It was a wild ride, dude, for like the first 120 days. Just, it was like the energy, the consciousness of Soulology wouldn't allow anything but what was congruent. from me, from anyone else. And then all of a sudden it's blowing up now. And I can feel it, but it's not about Soulgy. It's going back to what it's about all of us. Soulgy is just a name for what we have all in common, whatever you want to say. But it's this thing, like the way it came to me, 1st of March, that was going to happen. You're going to start seeing stargates, and then all this other stuff starts happening with the third eye throughout these months. But it's been like, okay, you got the information to wake up. Now, what are you going to do? Are you going to continue to go out here and have these little ripples of fear threaded to you? And you're going to come out here and exclaim how fucking awake you are, you know, and how smart you are and what you can teach people and all this stuff, while you're still over here dragging your ass on the floor like a dog that just took a crap. Okay. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's time to do something with it. We're immortal beings. You're not a man married to just any old woman and just having any old kid. You're not. You're a holy trinity. You're a holy triad in the flesh. You know, and so like borders, and we've talked about it before, but it's the action of faith. To me, that's what it is. It's the action of faith. It's actually walking the talk. Stop making excuses. Stop projecting. Stop lying. Stop doing things out of integrity. Stop turning the other eye and putting your hand out and collecting something that's in imbalance. You know, I mean, it's like, and to me, I don't know about you, but you let me know, like, without any pressure of linear time, because that bastard is gone with me. Because
Yes.
anything I approach, I don't put a deadline on. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do what I can do. Period. I'm not gonna beat myself up. But oh shit, I forgot what I was saying. Linear time. But I guess, you know, to get to the cut to the chase. Oh yeah, I know what I was gonna say. Even though there's not the pressure of deadlines or linear time, I feel like there's a window. There's a window of opportunity that we have when we're in this awakened state in a realm experience at the culmination of it, or something like that. Kind of like riding a tsunami, and we're on top of it, and you can start doing tricks. You know, like you put your flavor, your spin on it, right? That's what I feel like, and I feel like it's not going to last forever. And the last thing I'll say is, like, going again to what you're saying earlier. I was sitting with my kid last night, my youngest kid, 20, she's not a kid, she's an adult, 21 years old. And I said, we were talking, she likes to ask metaphysical questions or whatever from time to time when her friends are not in earshot. And she said something to me, and I said, this is my last life. And then she says, well, what do you mean this is your last life? I said, well, I didn't say, what I didn't tell you is that my gut feeling is I'll probably live another few hundred years. Right. So, like, there's been this huge alteration in 2023. Like, literally everything's been left behind. We just, there's parts of us, and some of us just don't know it yet. That's how it feels to me. Anyway, what do you think?
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah, I feel you. I feel every word. I feel it's like it's there, and it's really important. Like that's what I always love about speaking with you as well, is like you're very open. You don't like, you don't keep anything back. You don't like project one, but you're real, and I've always had to be that way, because it just couldn't be any other way. And it's not beating ourselves up, it's not like judging, it's not like, but it's like like showing that, because to be honest, like, I saw so much within myself while I was doing that outward work, a lot of the mystery school stuff and all. There was still, as much as I tried to keep it, like, you know, real, there's still a part of you that was still, you know, full of your own shit. Part of me full of my own shit. And I wanted to be able to call that, always call that, and get others to call that as well, and see that. And there's real power in that, and there's real clarity in that.
Yeah.
And that's how we're being cleared of this debris. It's just dust. It's just dust. And this emptiness that is always here is just becoming more clear. It's not something that's become, this emptiness is just revealing itself now. And then the appearance of the world can just manifest in any way without this little me and this dark me and this poor me and this victim me and all those me's that I've played very well. And still, again, I'm not saying I'm there, not even close. We all are there, but it is not apparent in my life fully. But more and more, it's been seen that it's just a falling away. It's a falling away. There's so much, and what's left is just empty and beauty that doesn't need something. There's no desires left. There's just this. What is? It's just this. It's just this. It's that. It's that.
Yeah.
It's now. And I don't have to do anything. We don't have to do anything. And there's nowhere to go. And everything is possible. And nothing needs to happen. We don't need to do anything. It's already here. But it's this dust. It's this fragments of me. The fragments of me. I think that's what I'm feeling.
Yeah. And this, what you're talking about, this brutal honesty of the soul, right? Like,
yeah.
Like this show, this afternoon, this show with Pamela is going to be swimming in those waters, right? I mean, this all kind of stemmed from just conversations. We're having conferences, about collaborating with other people, just happened to occur. And there was a couple of them in there, her and another sister, that just in the conversation mentioned these extraordinary things about their lives, like in passing. Like she's going to talk about it today. In her case, the other one was a different type of story, but it was just as fantastic and just as much not talked about. So Pamela's never went to school till she was 14 years old. Because from the age of 1 to 14, she was a sex slave for the elite. Now she's telling me this with a smile on her face and just like going through. I went back in those days when that was going on, and he just had to tell me. I said, whoa, wait a minute. What did you say? Oh yeah, that happened. I don't like to talk about it because it takes away from people, the information that I pull in for people. And I said, well, you and the other person. I said the other person was another sister that mentioned some stuff that was going on in her extraordinary life with her family, Elsa Dillon. She's got 8 children plus her husband, and they all have active relationships with their galactic aspects, which is pretty amazing. But anyway, my point was that start telling these stories, and obviously not from the victim mode, right? That actually have relevance, right, to our lineage, right? I mean, and so that's, I think, what you were. You good? Yeah. You good? How's that?
Sorry, the headphones died. Can you still hear me?
Yeah. You good?
Okay, yeah. I just had to switch over to these ones. Sorry, brother.
Yeah. No. I was just saying how that's one thing about you too, is that like, because man, I know a lot of people that worked with you. I never popped into one of your mystery schools, but I know a lot of people that have worked with you. I know a lot of people you had a powerful impact with, have had and have a powerful impact with. Yet you would always come out straight up and say, man, like I did it to one of my sisters the other day. I saw her on here, Delia. I don't mind saying it. I love her to death. And I projected on her. Like out of nowhere. I went, ah. And then she went, brother, do you want to talk about it? I'm like, no, actually I don't, because it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with me. I went to see my family. Ram Dass's famous words, you think you're awake, go spend time with your family. We had a funeral, my uncle transitioned, lots of stuff going on, like a lot of us, the outcast of the family, for years and years. Todd's crazy. I go back and it was extraordinary. Other than 5 minutes, I was great. I got triggered and stepped outside, took some breaths, came back, 5 minutes for 5 days isn't bad, right?
Wow.
But I realized that was the difference. What you're doing and what you've always done and what you're talking about now, owning it, really.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Again, since this journey began, I can't do it any other way. I can't. Like when you got your message about just social media, it wasn't like, oh, would you like to switch off your social media? It's like this is it. It's the same for me last year with the social media, and I only had 600 videos on YouTube when I did the deletion on that. So it was like only a tenth of that what you're doing. But it's just like it couldn't be any other way. There's no like, and there's many times I would wish that it wouldn't be that way. I'll be honest, you know, the little me, because it's not so easy bearing yourself like that, but it is liberating. It's not easy, but it's definitely liberating. But just going back to your point, and when the headphones died, when you talked about the lady and her first 14 years of life experience.
Yeah.
So I also have direct experience of that. And at this point, I can say, like, without any doubt, the amount of people that I've worked with who have been in same or similar experiences, these be like what these beings hold because of that is unbelievable, like unspeakable. And from the outside, it looks like, you know, what it looks like. It doesn't need to be spoken of, but what that builds is unbreakable.
Right.
Unbreakable. And this dream of reality, that is unbreakable. And so it's important, and I'm sure it already sounds, and I know that that's what that lady's sharing from that perspective. And it, you know, when it comes to that, it can trigger so many people. Very, very easy to see how that would be. But when you can see it from how she's sharing it and how I have seen it, it's an unbelievable gift.
Yeah.
Inside a horrible wrapping.
Yeah. And I didn't even, like, when I mentioned it to her, hey, back up for a second. Why don't we do something with this? Why don't we have a conversation? And of course she said what she said, but then afterwards she sent me a note and said, you know what? Something opened in me. Something that I didn't know wants to come out. And I went, okay, here we go. So yeah, to what you're saying, like, okay, going to this funeral. I was in a small Catholic church. The priest is coming down the hall, walking toward the altar, coming down the aisle, walking toward the altar. I'm in the third row back. I'm right next to the aisle. And as he starts to pass me, because I don't have any sexual violation memories in this lifetime. Could have happened, I don't know. But I do have quite a few in, you know, say the past couple thousand years, right? As he's walking by me, I can feel everything. I can feel the programming. I can feel the violation. I'm reliving. I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like in the middle of this thing, right? And eventually through the whole mass, it worked itself out. But these things are real. This sex magic and this sexual control, this distorted sexual control, this physical insemination, the fluid itself being emitted into the body, you can't tell me that it just goes away. You know, this is some huge stuff that we're breaking through. And like the way that you guys are living your life now, so many people adopting. I talked to a sister this morning and she's like, I know I got to leave, you know, I've been just, Spirit's been taking care of me for a year and my lease is up and I know I got to go. I don't know how it's going to work, you know, and like there's so many, right? So many people just going, you know what? I'm not participating in this anymore. Yeah.
So like the memories for me, it's funny how it happened because it's only happened in the last in the last 3 years for me. So the first memories appeared in 2019 while I was doing the New Earth Mystery School, but it wasn't the full thing. I got memories. My consciousness completely blocked what happened. It was at a very, very young age. And it wasn't your standard story, but my consciousness fed to me only in small pieces. And you talk about numbers at the beginning, it's always in numbers. So I get this instantaneous boom in 2019, and then only in, I can't remember if it's you're talking about time, linear time, like days. I have no idea what day it is, but either 21 or 22, I got the whole picture of that. And then there was a whole lot of work around that, including that real estate cult that you just mentioned, the Catholic Church. There was a whole lot of work about that, going way back to a month before this body was born. A whole lot of work doing in a park in Ireland where basically the elite of the elite, let's say, are partaking in that, and it's still going on. So there's a lot of work with that, but it all became clear. And that inversion, it was amazing. I had to go do it on my own. Sometimes we do this with others, but this one I had to go and do on my own. And the inversion that happened was inverted. I don't want to go into too many details because it's we could, but I just feel like not now. That inversion was inverted instantaneously. And the things that are going on there, that's all collapsing now. A lot of these fires and things that is going on is linked with this, and a lot of the earth changes that are being attributed to other things is all. A lot of this is linked with that. And it's really funny that I'm talking. I knew when I come on here, I'm going to be talking about something that I'm like in emptiness before I come on here, and then you're just drawing this. Like, so, yeah, that's what's been happening and continues to happen, but it's much more widespread than people could ever. And again, my own consciousness blocked so much of this from me, because it's, for most, this is not. It can't register. It can't be taken in. It has to be taken in small doses, and that's what's happening in the collective as well. It's a gradual thing. I'm sure some people just get blown wide open, but it's a gradual thing because the consciousness. It's like a compassionate consciousness that opens little by little. Because if this was like the Band-Aid just been ripped off straight away, like most people could not deal with what we're talking to here.
I mean,
and those that can are doing it, and bless them.
Well, I have a relative that's a PhD psychology. Always been close to. I hadn't seen them in a long time, and the subject of 9/11 came up. Now I'm not doing the talking. one of the other family members who's snapping to it, right? And
was this at the funeral as well?
Or? Yeah. Well, it was hanging out. Okay. It was that weekend, right? Hanging out at the house, and so the short of it was that this well-educated, intelligent relative just said, "Now what?" and the other one said, "Yeah, the government did it, and how do you explain Building 7?" Or a couple of little details, and the one I'm speaking of said, "Oh, there's no way," like total shutdown. And so to your point, if we are capable of shutting down something like that, think about how much harder it would be to divulge to ourselves the type of thing that you're talking about. Which is to me, I feel like it's so necessary. So really, I mean, I'm telling you, 2 months ago, which was 3 to 4 months after we launched this thing, I thought I was going to be on the streets and everything was done. And I was okay with it. I'm like, if this is what it takes, then fuck it, let's do it. You
done it before, you can do it again.
Exactly, right? But the reason, I was drawing it back to that is because I started, you know how it is. And this is no different. In fact, this is probably the biggest one. When we get through the other side of this dark, decrepit, slimy shit, and we're all touched by it.
Yeah.
I can promise you that. Okay. Yeah. We've all been physically violated. It's in our genetics. It's the core of this fuckery. But on the other side of it is our unlimited power. There's a full-blown channel of creative life force energy that runs through us, just as the earth runs through us, in the cosmos runs through us. You know, everybody's happy to see you.
Can we share anything on here? Can I say
absolutely
anything?
Absolutely.
There's no filters.
There's no filters. We just happen to be doing this one, and I've got it. I've got a recording going that they can't stop. So even if they share,
I want to share a little bit about it. Then I want to share a little bit about it. In October 1979, Pope John Paul came to Ireland for the first time. There's a big park in Ireland called Phoenix Park. It's basically where the Irish White House is. It's a huge park, beautiful park. It's basically where the Irish White House is. It's where the American Embassy is. And underneath that is underneath that is a place that no soul would want to be. And there are many places like this across the planet. So this body arrived in, that gathering had like 1 million people or something crazy for Pope John Paul. That's what it was on the surface. Under the surface, you can put the dots together, what's going on there. Yeah. So when this came through, I lived as a young child a couple of miles away from that, and there are feeder places from all of these. They called them the Magdalene laundries, very close, children brought in. I lived as a 2-year-old about 2 miles away from that place, outside of it. Again, these memories only appeared like in an instant a couple of years ago. Anyway, so Pope John Paul, that was that let's call it a ceremony, arrived. This body arrived on November 1979, a month afterwards. Things happen. I wasn't born in that area, but when I was 2 years old, this is non-human, we're talking. Yeah. Played out by certain humans who choose to go along that. So as a 2-year-old, this vessel was taken, unknown to anyone around me, and used for certain purposes. Right. And that only became clear in this moment. So whenever that became clear, I was told to go back to this place at whatever, 41 year old, 42 years old. I went back to this park. I had to take my shoes off and go into this park and do this work on my own. So I ended up getting to this place outside the equivalent of the Irish White House, outside the American Embassy, all that. And I was drawn to this one spot in the middle, very unassuming. You wouldn't think there's anything there. And I subsequently found out afterwards that this is the exact place where the rituals and everything goes on. But I was guided to go around that 3 times in my bare feet, light language, all sorts of stuff going on. And I know in Ireland it rains a lot, but this day was absolutely, the sun was shining. It was a beautiful day. It was amazing. I thought it was great. Once I did this process, this work, it rained for 1 minute and then stopped, and it was done. So this body was called Martin John by my parents, born into the real estate cult. Good old Catholic, Martin John. And in confirmation, you get to choose your own name. So I chose Paul. So my name was Martin John Paul. And of course, Pope John Paul was the the Pope at that time. And as I finished that work, it's a giant park, and I was like, I had to get out of this park, and I couldn't find my way, couldn't get a taxi, couldn't get anywhere. Anyway, eventually walked my way out of the park, and I get into a taxi. And in Dublin, they have like little face plates, and it says their name. And I get into the taxi, and the taxi man's name is called Paul John. So the inversion of John Paul and my Martin John Paul had been reversed. It was like instant confirmation. I was like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. So anyway, I get the taxi, go to another one, go to a hotel, and I'm going somewhere else to meet my brother. I get into another taxi, and the taxi man is called Paul John. So the inversion, I mean, it's not like John Paul is a very common name in Ireland, but Paul John is just like, it's ridiculous. Both taxi men, Paul John, the inversion of John Paul, and all that represents, that inversion was brought around. And then just back on, like, it was incredible. But then we just get back on with life. Don't make I know I'm making a story of it now, but only because you've drawn it out. That was important. It was very, very important for that land, for that space, and for everything that is collapsing as a result of many, 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 many beings and many brave, beautiful souls sharing their journeys. But I just wanted to share that with you there because you pulled it out.
I think it's absolutely it's necessary, and again, if and we all know this, if families sweep these types of violations under the rug as they have, then what do you think's happened? You know what I mean? Like it's always been there.
Yeah,
it's always been there, right? That priest walked by me. All I could smell alcohol and cigarettes and a stubble of a beard, right? And then the memories of as a child not knowing anything but the open-heartedness you have for this person who you essentially follow every command and you revere as a extension of God himself, herself, who then introduces pleasure to you that is an abomination that you don't know. Nobody wants to, and I'm convinced that through the rest of this year, there's going to be a massive amount of memory recall in regard to men and sexual violation. The women had the Me Too, and a lot of that came out, and it's still coming out. But it's so weird. It's so weird. We connect, we channel, we download, we astral travel, we go into other multiverses, we go to other planets, we talk to beings, and all that shit, man. It's spectacular. It's wild. It's like, it's life altering, life changing. But to understand that we got to go right through every single bit of the human experience. We cannot put anything off. And that is the root of what we've forgotten. I wanted to forget. We think we lost our memories and forgot our multidimensionality, but it's the memory loss here. That's the last, the last line of defense for the matrix, you might say. It's the last hurdle for us to cross.
And this is what's the key to the last life for us here and anyone who's watching this is to go through everything. You leave something out, you're coming right back. Not because it's something that's imposed upon you.
you're coming right back because you didn't go through what you're, and if it's last life, you're going through everything. Nothing, no stone left unturned, nothing left behind. That's where that's where I feel we are, and it's it's incredible. It's incredible time to be, and this experience of like sharing what I just shared with you, and then this emptiness. I have to keep coming back to it. It's just this peace and this emptiness, interspersed with craziness and mentalness, and me still being all those things that we talked about. It's just incredible. It really, really is.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't expect this today, but I should have expected it with you coming on.
Either did I. I thought I was going to come on here and sit in silence, because I've been sat with a group of people all day in Glastonbury, and it was like given plenty of opportunities to speak, and I literally did not say a word. I've just been like empty, and nothing to say. Just be like sit in silence, it's fine. I just didn't feel anything to share, and then I come on here, and I should have known as well. Like,
wow.
But there's no expectations, and I definitely didn't think that was coming. But there we go.
I think you set the table for the rest of the day, if you want to know the truth. Yeah, I've always tried to be an open book, and obviously people know. I mean, I've got a wild hair or two, and some of the experiences I've had, and I would say in the space of drug addiction, drug and sex addiction, but I don't know what's going to happen today. Now that you've kicked this off, I might just come out with more information, freak people out, but I think, and eventually it all will. And I think that's the whole key to it. It's not so much the story as it is the person being comfortable in their own skin and liberating themselves from the shackles of this self-imposed imprisonment, exile from self. I mean, it really is. It's like, fuck you, Matrix. I love you, but you don't have any hold on me. It's me. It's me. It's just me. And that's why I encourage people to come start shows on the network, because there's no limit. I walked outside about 5 days ago, like 10 days, like 15-hour days, just I don't even know what happened. Like the higher self took over. So then I walked out, thought, man, what's going on here? And then I heard, you figured it out. I'm like, what? They said, well, people are just going to go be themselves. And I just started laughing. I thought, whoa, wait a minute. So what is the path? How does a person get to a place where they can just be themselves? Remove all the shit. Like just that's it. It's not you doing it for me, but it is. Like I'm finding myself through you, and you through me. Like it's weird. It's like the true mirror. It's like the true mirror. I look at the mirror and go, oh, I'm not like that. I'm not like Martin. He does this. No, it's like, wow, I am like Martin. It's that people use that word authenticity, but it's transparency.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Absolutely. And we clear each other, and you're becoming transparent, as I see there with that screen. You're just merging into your soul. I love it. I love it.
You should have seen the show before this, man. It was trippy. The screen turned all crazy, and for like half the show, it was just like crazy.
And I want to just go back and just remember the part of that story I didn't share. It was like, seriously, it's like a movie. I had to get a bus from Northern Ireland, where I live, down to Dublin's about 3 hours, well, 2.5 hours, something like that. When I got off the bus, I had no idea what was going to happen. I knew I was going to Phoenix Park. I didn't know what was going to happen. And I get off the bus, and I'm like, okay, what now? I mean, once I arrived in Dublin, it was dark, and I mean, I could feel all these. I mean, they were. It was like they were following the bus. All this darkness coming up, and it goes through me. It goes through me as part of this work. But I got off the bus, and I'm like, okay, well, what now? Like I had no idea, just middle of Dublin. And I swear to God, in an instant, two guys, you could make this up, daylight, Dublin, loads of people around, two guys, full black gowns, hoods, walking in front of me. It was like, follow them. I walked, like, I swear, like, black hoods. I took photographs because people would not believe you when you tell this stuff. And I followed them, and they led me to a church, and I had to do work in that church that day. And then I went on to thing. But it's just amazing how this stuff, it was like a movie. It was honestly like a movie. And this is, I really feel what you said there. Because again, I'm blessed, the compassionate consciousness fed this to me in a way, and I think it'll happen for everyone in that way. And only the measures or time or intensity that you're able to integrate, I suppose. And it's very interesting what you were sharing there about men, and because we have a bit of a better skill of repressing this shit, in general. So I think possibly it's going to be, we've been holding it more and more. There's going to be more shifts in that, and possibly that's going to come in a way that might be unexpected. For me, it was very unexpected. In 2019, I had a completely different idea of what that was. It was a very human, physical idea of what that was, and what it became when it became clear. The human physical stuff was very much, of course, the surface, like all things, and this was very much under the surface and energetic and non-human, and not like what we would normally associate with this, I suppose. I'm sure there's people here I would associate it with, but how that will appear, I don't know. But one breath at a time.
Yeah, I can feel this. So, there's something to be said for the physical form that we're in. Like maybe we're doing that part of the work or something like that. I don't really know. But what I do get is that there is a difference, right? You could say the feminine in us was violated, was corrupted.
Yeah.
As it's been explained to me by the mother herself, right? And but the male form was the lackey of this non-human, of this patriarchal.
Yeah.
The male form was used to inflict, right, and impregnate and inject. But what I've been watching happen, and I've seen it really affect people over the last almost a year. You see men stepping up. Daniel DeKick is on here. He came on first part of the year, talked about his sexual distorted experience, and it was very compelling. But I've watched this expansion of the true divine and suppressed and hidden masculine, and watched it affect women. Wait a minute. And men. He popped out. And it has to do with I think we forgot the masculine part of us was a victim too. And I think like what Martin's talking about in his memory banks, we're going to get a lot more of that. Oh, there he is. There we go. That was trippy. Yeah. There's Daniel. You good?
Just kick me off there. I don't know what was going on.
It's the energy, man. It's the Roman Catholic Church. And
kick me straight off.
No. But see, that's the thing. No, I was just saying that I've noticed it for about a year. And I've noticed the impact it's had on women and men. And it's this suppressed, hidden, secreted away, divine masculine that like the feminine in us took like 5 years. Like it was a promenade, right? Like remember like 2012, 13, 14. And then the masculine started poking his head out around 19 or 20. And then all of a sudden in the last year, you just see this, and nobody expected it. That's the way I felt. Like, whoa, we don't even know what we have here. Like, because it's been hidden too, along with her, right? But what I was getting at is the male form was the apparatus of the patriarchal. There's a tremendous amount of guilt and shame and all that other crap that goes with that. But we also forgot he was a victim too. Because if you look at these secret societies, they're all about sex magic.
Yeah.
You are going to get sodomized. You're going to get raped. And that's the way you enter. And that seed, because it has a physical quality as well, is you talk about implants. So this is so important for these things to be brought out. And of course, the new masculine, or the one that was hidden, the creator, the builder. This time we come back and we have to hold those victimizers and those that have led the fuckery in the highest compassion with no judgment.
Yep. There it is.
And that's
there it is.
That's it right there.
There it is. That's it. That's liberation. That's liberation. Anything other than that, the good versus evil, the spiritual holy war continues what they think they're going against. You just nailed it for me, and I'm so happy to hear that, because you don't often hear that, and especially when you get to this subject, because it's so triggering, understandably. But that is the only thing, is love and compassion, that can transform this experience of, because it's the darkest of the dark. Like, I'm sure most people would agree, that experience is like, no, you can't imagine something darker than that. So the only quote solution, it's love, it's compassion, it's support, which is going to be needed over the coming 10 years or so. It's support for all facets of that. And that's going to be really, really challenging. Again, the consciousness. No one will experience anything that their consciousness is not ready for. That's the amazing thing. Like, I'm amazed by how many songs that I think that I knew from years ago and all this stuff. And then I hear them and they're like, what? That doesn't say that. Your consciousness is unbelievably subtle and amazing, how me and you can look at the same thing and I'm blocked to it in some way and I can't see what you can see. It's amazing. So it will happen organically through the consciousness, but as the collective uncovering, and this has been coming through me since 2017, but this collective, uncovering or awakening, whatever we want to call it, this bringing to light that which was in the unseen, it will happen organically, and it'll happen in a way that each being is ready for within their consciousness. And it's such an amazing system, such an amazing gift that we have. And if we can, that's not set in stone either. I feel we can shoot, when it gets ridiculously intense, we can say, tune it down a bit. And I forget that often. But we can also say, like you said, and I think maybe we're just kind of thrust into it. No more. No, it's wake up. It's really wake up. It's like now. It's not like whenever my soul family's around. It's not when I'm on a yoga or doing yoga on a mountaintop. It's not when everything's easy. It's in the middle of the main street. It's in the middle of the family that's fucked up, and it's in the middle of when there's chaos. Can you be the stillness in the chaos? Can you bring the love in the chaos? Can you bring the love where there hasn't been love before? And this is another rule that I can't even believe. I've spoken to one person about this, and he used to come on your show, and he told me about it, and then I opened up with it. I've since, this is not like a conscious thing where I've decided, obviously on some level I have found myself, I just appear in these places where this stuff's still going on, and exactly what you've just talked about now, I am there to hold a space of love and non-judgment in this space of this just unspeakable stuff. Again, this just it happens. It's not like I decide I'm going to do this. I don't know how that happens for others, but I just find myself there and like, what the fuck? But then it's just holding, it's just holding love, holding compassion, and in the non-love, love can bring what is true, and that can't continue in that space. Of course, in my daily waking life, this body, this being, that like any sort of conflict, I just melt. I just but the aspect of me that can be there it's quite amazing for me to watch. I don't take any ownership of that. It's something that there's an awareness of, because this part of me, I say conflict or anything like that, is like I go to pieces. So
the biggest part, the biggest part of my little trip back to my hometown for the funeral was I found out in January. Like I always said throughout my life, I can handle anything, but if somebody fucks with one of my kids, they'll disappear and they'll never find me. They'll never know who did it. I'll fucking kill them. And I meant it. But of course, you mature and you change, and then the universe has a way of revisiting old wounds, right? And so in January, I'm driving down the road with one of my kids and find out that she was raped by somebody very close to me. So that was in the evening. The next day I met her again, my kid. And I was okay. I didn't get a charge. I was in a good place. It was right on time, but I hadn't put it to bed yet. So I'm going to go see her. She's going to give me something. And she opens the door and she says, "Are you all right?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, "I'm all right." And that was my validation. I was like, "Oh shit, wow. Like slap. Who the fuck are you, Todd, to think that your pain is worse than someone else?" You know what I mean? But the thing was, I didn't want to go to this thing.
Of course.
That was my human. It's like my human just didn't want to go. It wasn't about that person. It was just about the whole thing, right? And but then my soul said, "No, you're going." And so then I had to sit with that for a few days because it didn't happen right away. It happened like about 10 days later. And I came across this person. And I'm telling you, I had nothing but compassion. And I'm grateful that that was the case, because I could have easily created a perpetuation of that. Because then at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's just, it's energy that has been presented and encouraged and manipulated and fucked with or whatever that we've kind of extracted from. And again, the universe will probably come back again and, give me another opportunity to step into my power, and not to engage the old. But
it's amazing. Because you talked about I don't know what sort of resonance we have, because I and my wife, I don't want to go into the details, but very similar. Both of us had the similar experiences in Brazil as what you've said. I want to just keep it like that.
Right,
I just want to but the same thing. And I'm amazed. I'm amazed by it, because I can feel that, the first thing you say, I can feel that, know that, and I have experienced exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
In another version of this fun dream we decided. You remember? You remember when you said, "Go to Earth, it'll be fun"? They said. Do you remember that part?
Yes, I remember that.
You remember that part?
Well, actually, the way I remember it was, who wants to go? And I was the first one down the chute. But I have this thing where that doesn't always serve me best, right? But I'd come anyway. But when the mother calls, I don't even question. She called me to Sedona last year, and I didn't even question it. It made no sense at all. But it was the most extraordinary period of my life until this year. So, bro, we're gonna have to. So what are your plans now? What are you gonna do from where you're at? Are you
We
gonna
have
go back?
we're going to go back to Portugal. We have we couldn't
Okay.
find a house. We have no house. We've moved into a motorhome, and I have literally no single idea what's going to happen.
Well, you let me
That's it.
know if you can help me in any way. I mean, you can help me, if I can help you in any way, if we can help you in any way,
Absolutely. Appreciate it.
because I think it's part of this whole, the sharing thing is so important. And I know we've all come from a paradigm of holding each other up and send me love and and it's a different thing now. But it
Yeah.
has to do with a win-win-win, right? Like the Trinity energy. So,
Yes.
and part of
Absolutely.
that is actively, because I can't use the words give and receive anymore. I don't know what it is, but sharing works. It's a mutual exchange, right? So, yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm going to send you an email after this show or the next show, because I'm about to start another show. But
Sure. My battery's just about to die as well, so it's perfect timing.
All right, brother. Hey, I love you, man, and
Love
you'll
you,
hear from
brother.
me soon. And yeah, anything you need, just let us know, man. But I'm going to send you an email here shortly. Okay, love you, brother.
Beautiful.